Salute and welcome everybody to the Fighter Driver channel. I'm Gabriel Oliveira, the fighter driver and enthusiast of motorsport and combat aviation, and this is the first episode of our second mission, this time in War Thunder. As I told you in the first three videos of this channel, my goal here is bringing you videos about sim racing and air combat simulation in games. In the first mission we talked about Gran Turismo 7, and now let's fly a bit. By the way, if you didn't watch the Mission 1 videos and sim racing is your thing, you can do so by clicking on the link for the playlist here on the screen's top right corner. The link is also in this video's description. Let's talk about War Thunder now. In this mission, we will learn and explore the basics of this war game. I wanted to bring you all the processes I did with Gran Turismo 7, but unfortunately I had some problems with the software I was using to record the screen and couldn't effectively record it. No, but I'll try to bring you everything I've learned through this process. Weapons clear. So, I'm running War Thunder on my laptop. You can see my specs in the video description, and because of it, the video quality won't be the best. I'm sorry for that. I want to get a better rig in the future so I can make better content for you, but for now, that's what I've got. Maybe you can help me with that in the future, but we'll talk about it later. Once it's installed, it's time to run it for the first time. As it allows a skin edition and I intend to do so, at least for some aircraft, I'll install the full client package, which brings me high resolution models and skins. You can only custom skins with this package on. Now, if you're not interested in changing skins, you can keep the minimum package. It will demand less computational power from your system. Once we log in and the game loads, we get to the main screen in which we can see our equipment, set things up, look at our ranks and statistics, and so on. I'll explore the different tools, options, and resources with y'all as I learn about them. You can see my main plane now, the Brewster F2A Buffalo with my custom skin applied, but I didn't start there obviously. We start with less capable older aircraft, and it will depend on your country's equipment to choose. In my case, I went for the US equipment as I'm more familiar with them and will focus more on the Navy planes. By the way, if you're new to War Thunder, you can play with all sorts of terrestrial, naval, or air assets. In my case, I'll focus on the air assets as this is my passion. The F2A1 is my primary aircraft now, and I also have two F3 F2s, but we started with a BF2C1 from the Navy and a P26A 34M2 from the Army Air Corps. My first arcade missions were flown with those two aircraft, and I'll show you them in a few moments. At this point, you can fly your first mission in the arcade mode by just clicking on the To Battle button, but I don't recommend you that. I suggest you to fly the tutorials first, and actually the first tutorial will be brought to you as you reach the main screen. You can also access the tutorials of the menu battles, option tutorials, or on the right corner of the screen close to the special missions, and you have different lessons teaching you different aspects of the air battle. So go through it, at least the first one, fighter control basics, so you can understand the basics of the aerial combat. In case you're playing with different equipment, say terrestrial or naval assets, there will be proper tutorials for it. Now, the controls shown here can be changed as you need, or they fit better to you. And this is something I will struggle with in the beginning until I find the best control setup, but it took me a lot of try and error as research online and also some adaptation time, as I used to fly the BMS F-16C Block 50 in the past, and the reality was totally different there, as BMS is a much more realistic simulator, and I had a HOTAS by then, don't have it anymore. Again, maybe you guys can help me with that in the future, but we'll talk about that later on. For now, you can help a lot by showing your appreciation over our job by clicking on the like button, sharing this video with your friends, and leaving us a comment with your suggestions. Well, let's get into action here. I want to show you my first missions, and I have them recorded. You can always record the replays of your battles, and they will be accessible in the menu community option replays, as you can see me doing on screen now. Let's get to the first battle of all, and as you can see, even before viewing it, you have all the battle statistics related to your performance, and my statistics here are not bad for a first mission, but let's see how it was, shall we? I won't get too much in details about how to work with the replay tools right now. If you want me to explore the replay tools and options, leave me a comment. If I get 100 comments asking for it, I'll make a video especially about it, exploring the replay functionality as deep as possible. Getting into the furball, booming and zooming around, getting familiar with the controls as they come by default. Also trying some attacks against ground targets. What a noob. Crashed and burned already. Let's get to the P26A and try to do a little better now. If you're not familiar with War Thunder, it may seem impossible to understand what's going on and who's who. I can just imagine how crazy and confusing it would be being part of a real event like that. But during the match, everybody has a label, so you can tell friends from foes. It's just turned off now. Getting familiar with the controls, everything here is very different from my previous experience with the F-16s and BMS, and I want to bring some BMS content for you as well, but for that I must get a new rig and HOTAS before. We'll get there when time comes. It's incredible how I managed to shoot down 5 enemy planes so far. I believe most of them crashed as I shot them. It's the only way I can explain that. And here we have a mid-air collision. Very noob. But the aircraft is still flying despite of losing my engine, so let's try an emergency landing here. And I collide with a tree, but I have a BF-2C1 as a reserve. Let's see what else I can do with it. My aiming is terrible, but later on I found that it was because of my poor understanding of how to control the airplane. I was using only the mouse for controlling the plane's attitude. I'll get better at it. One more plane shot down and we lost this match. Let's take a look at the second match, which was way better than the first one. I got 8 kills with 2 kill assists and didn't die. Have no clue how I got there, but it's on. I'll try to keep booming and zooming here, yet eventually getting into energy turning fights, but I will avoid that as much as I can until I really master the controls. An interesting thing to comment here, if an opponent is set on fire and explodes later or crashes, or you hit and incapacitate the crew, all of these things resulting in shooting down because of damage you inflicted on them before will count as a kill to you. So that explains some of the kills I got even after hitting someone and that dude kept flying in the first moment. It's not only when you see the foe exploding in front of you that will count as a kill, so that's nice. If you hit someone and another friend finishes the service, or the opposite happens, you guys will share that kill. Well, I didn't die but had another mid-air collision. A friend pitched up into me. Well, that may happen sometimes, especially in a furball like this, right? I ripped his wing off by hitting it with my propeller, but there were no other damages to my plane and it's still flying. So we'll try another emergency landing and try not to hit another tree or whatever, but this time I could save myself. Well, third mission, let's try to fly the plane from the inside now. I'll get the F3F2 I won during the last mission, the one flown by Bob Galler in the US Marine Corps. I will leave a link in the video's description telling his story if you want to know about it. As I hadn't installed the full package by this time, the plane wasn't equipped with a cockpit yet, that's why the virtual cockpit here. Now this battle was a disaster. Could do nothing, very confused with how the controls working here, don't know how to look around, poor aiming. was ripped apart by the enemies very fast. But it's all part of a noob's first try, right? Again, could save myself in the end and land in emergency. But now we'll try again, this time with the P-26A, which has a cockpit. Let's see if it makes any difference to my situational awareness. Well, it feels more natural to me like that because of my previous experience with BMS. In there you just don't fly out of the plane. But in here, maybe because of how the controls work or something else, I don't know, the situational awareness isn't very good like that. Or it's because of my noobiness, but this batch was a little better. At least I got 3 enemies before being erased from the sky. That's what we've got for this first episode. I'll get better for the next episodes, I promise. And if you like this video and want to learn together with me as we evolve and progress in the game, you can show your appreciation by clicking on the like button, leaving a comment telling me your opinion, your suggestions for further videos, sharing this content with your friends, and finally clicking on the subscribe button and activating the notifications bell so you'll receive the notifications when the next videos come in the channel. I appreciate you who followed me so far, salute, and I see you on the next mission.